Awesome. Welcome to the Chu Chronicles. My name is Chu, and every episode for this series, I'm bringing on a guest that's performing at Stress Fest Live at Blowback Gallery from July 19th and 20th. So without further ado, this guy, we go way back since middle school. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Matt Herrera. Hey, Matt.
Hello, Woo. How are you?
Great. How are you? It's a long story, the origins, but I'll tell you about it later. Maybe I'll share the story at the festival for the storytelling part.
There you go.
Yeah. So how you been?
I've been good, man. Really, really good. Getting back into this music thing, and it's been nice. It's been really refreshing.
Awesome. Good stuff. I forgot to change my alter ego name to Wu Manchu. Now they know my identity. Good stuff. Good stuff. Oh man. But yeah, man, I miss you. It's been like how long has it been since we last caught up?
It's been a while. I got heavily involved with my job at the time, and kind of took a break away from music, from recording and performing and playing. Um, and not really wanted to, but it was one of those things that my job just generally didn't allow me the time. And I have recently got out of that crazy trap, I'll say, and it's been nice. It's been nice to be around my family more and be a little bit more uh, on a positive path as where I was going, and that includes music. So I'm stoked.
Heck yeah, dude. We miss you on stage, so
Yeah, I miss being on stage. Honestly, it's been crazy, but yeah, I'm stoked for this new adventure.
same here, dude. I'm honored for you to be like your first show ever as a group.
Yeah, it is. So this has been a project kind of in the makings for a while, and it's something that we all come from backgrounds of a lot of cool bands and cool things that we've done. But we're really excited to play on the 19th, and show all of our close friends and family, what we've been up to these last couple of years. But yeah, I'm stoked.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm stoked too. Like when I caught up with James in Atlanta, when he was there for the tattoo convention, he let me hear like the EP, and I'm like, that's intense, dude.
Yeah. No, it's cool. Like like James and Richard started this project on their own about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. And I was still really, really in depth with my job and whatnot. And they came to me just to record the project. And at that point, I was doing a lot of revamping of my studio and my workflow and getting a little bit different way of doing things. And so I was like, yeah, let's get this recorded. And as it progressed, it was just like, this is a really cool stuff, and this is something that I really want to be a part of, besides just the engineering part of it and the producing part of it. So yeah, it's been awesome, and I've been happy to be able to play with Richard. He's an amazing drummer, and his past band Aggressive Persuasion was a very big influence to me. And I've known Richard since he was in seventh grade, I think it was. Um, but no, I'm really excited, and this is all of us are itching, to say the least. So
For sure. And man, Aggressive Persuasion, haven't heard that name in forever. So
right. What's funny is people ask me, is like, well, who's in this band? And I start going down the list, and I get to Richard, and they go, Aggressive Persuasion. And they go, oh my god, I haven't heard that in forever. And they were a big part of the Pueblo music scene, and unfortunately, their part that wasn't documented with social media.
yeah,
They have their last EP they did is on Spotify, but everything else they did, you actually had to be there for the shows, or got a CD from a friend, or whatever it was. And my old band Son of Man was kind of on that cusp too, but we look at Aggressive Persuasion as they were a big deal, and Richard has always been an amazing drummer, an amazing dude, and I'm just really fortunate to be able to jam with him in a band. And me and James played a little bit together in Three Cheers for Bloodshed when I joined with him for a little bit to be second guitar. Um, but yeah, this is just it's cool. We have a lot of people being like, this is like a reunion, the old school, Pueblo music scene, and for the bands, yeah, it's kind of cool to get in that. But we're stoked, and we have a singer who's been lived here for a while and has been involved with musical projects. But I'm actually really excited because no one's really heard of his projects before, and we really wanted to find a singer that was, so to speak, no one's ever heard. No one, who is this guy? And it's like, yeah, I want that. No offense to all the singers, that we have here in town and in the area, that we've jammed with, but we were just looking for something really fresh, and we were really lucky we came across David. But yeah, me and Josh from A Son of Man, and James from Three Cheers for Bloodshed, and Richard from Aggressive Persuasion are all jamming, so we're stoked.
Damn, dude, you guys are from like Voltron and stuff. It's
Right?
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Not Power Rangers, Voltron. I like that. That's, that no, and it's cool. As each piece came into this, it was a really big sigh of relief and excitement. James and Richard had the beginnings of this going, and it was great shit by itself. But we're excited to get out there and play. Not being involved in the music scene as much as I have in the past, with booking shows or, recording a lot of the, younger local talent like I was in the past. Definitely, like watching things from, the sidelines, so to speak, and, but I'm excited to get back in there and, get back into, the whole area that I grew up in, and still love to this day. And I put it all on hold for the old career, and thinking that I just couldn't do this because I had this type of job, and I'm excited to go forward with it, and we're excited to show everybody what we're doing.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm so stoked. It's like, it's just, to get just like everyone back on board, like whether it's like Elation, like a couple of years ago, it was like their first show ever. I'm like, all right, I get to put them on first show ever. It's like, all right, it's a fest, and for some, it's like their first fest too. It's like,
Yeah, no,
uh,
absolutely, absolutely, and we're excited. This has been uh, just something to kind of get back to our roots, and so we're real excited to get back into this.
same here. I'm so stoked. And speaking of all your past bands, let's go take me on a journey from pre-core to now.
Oh wow. Okay. So Precore, which I wasn't really the original like guitar player in there, but it was like all the popular kids, in eighth grade that, kind of got this little band going. And I was, super shy playing guitar. But anyway, Precore was, just basically a cover band. We really didn't write anything original. We played a couple shows, there's one birthday party we played, and I think we played somewhere near, God, I want to say 20 covers everywhere from, Korn to Nirvana, and Blink 182, I want to say, and Bush. I loved Bush. Um, but yeah, that was kind of getting my feet wet and getting into music was pre-core, and that lasted through like freshman year. Um, you know, Kind of getting into high school opened our eyes up more to, obviously more people and more avenues. But pre-core was awesome. Is with a good buddy of mine, Jason Clements,
Yeah,
and Josh Mabry, and Tony Cozzolino was part of it at one point. And let's see here, Justin Yon. These are all dudes from high school, and whatnot. But it was a very big part. I remember of me finding that one thing in life, like being as a teenager, that was like gives me a feeling that I don't get from anything else, and playing music. So that was cool. Next, sophomore year, that's where Darkfall kind of came about. And Darkfall was started by Greg Lopez and the drummer Jared Rodriguez. They went to East initially, and then Greg transferred over into Centennial, and me and Jason ended up joining that band. And it was like an alternative, Bush, grunge type of thing. And then me and Jason, we're into heavy stuff. Jason's into rap and ICP mostly. But we were literally kind of like a whole, mixed drink coming together. I think when our drummer's friend called us like the jungle juice of music type of deal, and that was great. We did a lot of cool things with that. We were offered a publishing contract through BMG right before our junior year, and that was us being 16 years old. In reality, they just wanted to take advantage of our age and music, but it was a good lesson. But we got to play at Centennial a lot. We got the Bell Bash shut down after like a song and a half.
Wow.
We weren't allowed to enter into the last couple of talent shows in high school because they said we would win. So we were just like the in between acts as the actual people that were, performing to win.
Wow.
Um, but no, it was cool. But I will say, those that were around that whole time period, it was a big boost to the ego, and it was a big boost to the ego, and not a good way. Um, at that point, there was a lot of, we were in high school, and this is like late 90s and shit. And so it's, there is a lot of just the bantering and whatnot. But we were able to do a lot of cool stuff. And after high school, Darkfall changed into more of a Limp Bizkit rap metal version. Our singer Greg left the band, and Jason went from bass to vocals, and we got our buddy Josh from Precor, back in to play bass. And it was great. We did a lot of great stuff, but it was also us being the first time as adults in the world, and partying and all that stuff. But we were able to do a lot of cool things around here, and I think one of our biggest shows was Rock on the Bricks at the college, and I want to say there's about 1,000 people while we played at that point. Um, but that was great. But it was also a very humbling experience after that to kind of get things back into a in my body type of deal. So after Darkfall, which ended, see, about 2002, 2003, Son of Man started becoming in the works. And at that point, it was like another culmination of other bands in town getting together. Coma Style, which was Mo Valdez, Josh Ewing, and Justin, our, Big J, which he had just passed away right now, actually. So I just want to kind of give a shout out to him. But anyway, they're in a really cool band, and I booked shows with them around, and I was not in Darkfall anymore, and so I was looking for something new, and so we got together, and then we got Brandon Gonzalez, or Torch, as he goes by, and we started Son of Man, and we really just wanted to make music that was fun for us to play, and something that we can kind of go forward in whatever journey that was going to be in. And after numerous kind of singers here and there, we got Brandon Bustamante, and we did amazing things. It was fun. But again, this is early 2000s. Social media was just kind of getting going. We had a MySpace page. We all were learning how to do code and booking tours through emails and phone calls. There was no, I'm just going to, go to this venue's page and see what they have available. It was literally going through and, figuring out what we can do as much as we can in this kind of gray area. But Son of Man, we did a lot. We had label auditions. We did the whole gamut. We toured around our area and the mountain area. But in the time, it just became that, family started, and, other journeys, and we're hitting our late 20s. And, it was like, got tired of being away from home, and we had, things happening at home, and lives falling apart or, coming together. We just weren't being present. So that's where, Son of Man, which was a 6-year stint from 2003 to 2009, it was great. And we made a lot of friends. And I will honestly say 90% of my friends to this day, have come from the music community in one way or another. But most of these friends came from that one band, which was really cool. We didn't cuss. We had singing, we had screaming. It was heavy, it was melodic, and that was really cool to kind of bring everything together. But there was also that big itch of me. I like metal. I'm a metal guy. So after Son of Man was kind of done for a couple years, and I told myself that it's okay to be a dad and be in a band, we started Bridges. Bridges was more of I'm going to say the Genty style. We use 7 strings, lower tuning. It was really melodic but heavy stuff, and I had Adam Gallo, who is a part of Cortez right now. We had Joseph Johnson from Old Spoken in Fire, Dorian Gray. His own project, Observing the Others, is amazing black metal experimental stuff. But he was on guitar with me, and then Josh on bass from Son of Man, and we had our singer Tyler and a couple of guys before him. But we did cool shit. We opened up for August Burns Red and Memphis May Fire out of state a couple times, and we got to do some minor shows around the area. But then again, just as life happens, that kind of just fizzled out after a couple of years, and really happy with all the things that we did. But unfortunately, that's where I thought I was done. Work took over as the main precipice for what I was going to be doing. Going through and just making sure that I was the corporate entity due to my job that I was, and it just was bad. So I started doing just recording, and then next thing you know, 6 years have passed. And like I wasn't even doing that much recording after all, just because of the job. So hence 13 Plagues, kind of had started, and it was literally just me, seeing my friends in a band jamming together, and they're doing great things, and they wanted me to be part of it on the recording aspect and also playing. But I was like, I don't know if I have time, and but now it's awesome. It's fun, it's refreshing. Um, we feel we have something to offer to the scene that is new and a different aspect of heavy. Richard is again an amazing drummer, and I've always said, you're only as good as your drummer. And I've been fortunate to really jam with some really good drummers. But with this project and the kind of avenue we're going, yeah, this is a really straight kind of heavy project. Um, David is an amazing vocalist, and so we are now in this, heavy metal dad phase, that I call it. It's all of us we're grown adults and have families, and looking at music in this kind of view and these type of goggles of life is really refreshing, because I think a lot of the immature things that happen, when you're younger and whatnot, um, they just don't have a room for here. They don't have room for any of this stuff. It's we're there to make music, and we work and we get our shit done, and we move on to the next thing, and we want to play shows with everybody and go out there and be involved. But wow, I didn't have until you asked me about that. All my bands, it was really like, it's not a lot of bands, and considering a lot of people I know have been like, they'll be in 4 bands in a year. I was in 4 bands for literally my adult life. Um, but I'm loyal that way. I want to see things too. And Josh, our bass player, Josh Ewing, he's always called me band mom, and uh, I like that. That's fine. It's I want to be professional about things and how everything is handled, and that's the way I've always been. But to do it now with my friends, at this late in my music career, it's awesome. So I'm really excited, and we're really excited to play.
I'm really excited too. It's like when you mentioned the ICP, it brought me back to the time that we were at when you performed at the Surratt Fest at Bridges with Bridges, and we had the Juggalos there, and then that fight broke out, and then um, I was interviewing this group called Dope DOD from Europe in Jacksonville, and like Violent J crashed my interview.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
Yep, and it's like he just asked about what are these things that you call that you're on those hoverboards or whatever, and it's on my Instagram too. It's like I was like, I can't believe Violent J. And then on top of that, like before him crashing or he crashed, DJ Paul from 36 Mafia crashed it too. I was like, this is just the craziest interview ever.
Dude, that's like a dream. That's like a fever dream that you had.
Big time, dude. And like the interview was supposed to be like 5-10 minutes, and then it turned into like almost 20. I was like, this is freaking nuts.
That's awesome. No, that's fucking great. That's
I'll
great.
send I'll send you the
Yeah,
full
for sure.
video.
No, I would love to see that. That's
And
nuts.
there's speaking of Dorian, you mentioned his name. There's another Dorian named Dorian Gale, and he put up the Wu Tang signs for the in the comments section. So that's pretty rad.
Awesome.
Awesome. So yeah, man, I'm so glad I got to catch Bridges, and I'm so stoked to catch 13 Plagues coming up. Because man, when I heard those first few tracks with like James in his hotel room, I was like, you guys got something. This is gonna be insane.
it's cool. I think it's more it's really thought out, and it's not like we're trying to write good songs, you know. And James and Richard really, again, they started all of these, you know, before we had come in. And when you have good bones, you know, like ready to go, it's exciting. And then you bring, you know, good talent in there and whatnot. And um, David is actually he's with my cousin or a second cousin, and I've always known he's a vocalist, and he's done other projects here in town, and it's like industrial, it's like Death Sales. Jesse McCoy from Mineral Palace.
Uh-huh.
They had another band called Death Sales, and Dave played guitar and sang in that too with him. So that's all I knew he would do, you know, that he can do. And I was like, you know, we're like looking, keeping our eyes out for vocalists and stuff. And David, you know, we were at like a God, it was a memorial, you know, for someone that had passed, you know, and we happened to all be there. And I was like, I approached him like, hey, I'm recording with this band that's looking for a singer, you know, not telling him that I was a part of it or anything like that. And you know, I wanted to see if, you know, like, you know, you want to check it out or whatever. And he goes, yeah, for sure, send me. So we sent him the tracks, and he was really interested. And you know, we invited him over to practice, and we just kind of had a mic set up in case he wanted to do something. But literally, like the first song we played, he grabbed the mic and just started kind of free flowing, you know, ideas. And I will say that was definitely a big like release of like tension and everything, because it was like, wow, this sounds real now, you know, like this sounds like we have something really special here, you know, because we were at that point just listening to these songs instrumentally for, you know, however long. And it was just like, you know, I wonder how it sound with vocalists, or what kind of vocalist. David has come in there and done amazing things with the songs. And every time that we track vocals, he really does impress me more and more. And I'm excited for everyone to see that. But you know, I'm glad, you know, this our friends that have heard everything, you know, so far with all these songs. Um, it's nice, and it's great to see, you know, the positive feedback. And you know, especially after taking such a long break, myself and Josh especially, you know, we have, not that we feel there's like expectations, but we know it's like, you know, we've done things be like this before. We've been in bands before. We've done all this our most of our lives, but there is a different maturity level about this, you know, and I'm excited to kind of go forward with this and, you know, keep on releasing music and see where it goes.
Hell yeah, dude. And you also you're a mixer and a master, a producer, and you, for my alter ego, you did the mixing and mastering for Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
And I that was, which reminds me, I gotta send you some more, because like I remember I got like more tracks for like a EP or something, so I gotta send you to
Yeah.
mixing.
Let me know. No, for sure. Yeah. Because you know, working studio wise and whatnot, I've that's another part of my creative process, and it was something that I wasn't able to do. So now, you know, getting out of my old career, I'm able to, you know, focus on my studio, and I'm live sound engineer at the Black Sheep as well, you know, and doing that. And it's been nice just to kind of sink my feet and everything into everything music right now.
Hell yeah. I remember those days, like when I used to manage the Widowhood Effect, and you gave them that cool spot for Everlast and
Yeah.
Biggie, and many times, and even sometimes they were like empty rooms because they were like the local acts only or something, and it was just so cool that you did sound for 'em and made the echoing and all that.
Yeah, no, that's thanks. I mean, that's the way I've always, that's the thing. I started off doing live sound before anything. And I got into recording for a very selfish reason, just because I wanted to record my own band and I didn't want to have anybody else deal with it. Because studios, you know, in the late 90s were very gatekeeping type of situation, you know, like unless you had tons of money, you really aren't going to do a lot in these nice studios. And then us being kids at the time, you know, no one gave us, you know, any sort of credibility to do anything nice. So with, you know, going back, and so even every performance that I'm doing, you know, doing sound at the Black Sheep, you know, my job is to make sure that everyone sounds as best as possible. And if I can, you know, highlight, you know, their songs more, and especially with Widowhood Effect, that was a great night, because that was a night that pretty much everyone was like, who the hell are these guys? And I got a bunch of compliments on the sound, and I'm like, when I have a great band that's up there performing, it makes my job a hell of a lot easier. But that's something that I'm excited to kind of get back into, is working with the upcoming talent coming up, and helping them get shows at the Black Sheep or Vultures or whatever I can do to help out, because that is something that I was not allowed when I was a kid in my first band. We begged the big bands in town, when we were in high school, to play shows with them, and they never would book shows with us. Um, but now it seems like that's so uncommon. Everyone's like, "Yeah, we'll put your show on there." And I'm like, "Cool, that's no longer a thing anymore." Um, but yeah, just being involved in music and doing that and sound wise. But no, I was actually gonna bring that show up because they still have Everlast signed a piece of the green room downstairs that night, and they did a bunch of remodeling, but they left that piece there. So his signature is still there from that night, and that's cool because that night I know that Widowhood Effect played that killer ass show, and it was, one of those things that those type of memories are really important for me when it comes to music in general. It's little stuff like that.
For sure. And how I love how like Sid Black, I hooked them up that with that interview on 94.3 Kilo to promote it, and I was like, I didn't expect a lot of these people to show up for Everlast, and then like when they played live on the radio, it's like everyone like swarmed in. I guess it
Yeah.
was. I still have that interview too. Like it's on my website. I'm like, yeah, those were the days. I miss it, but I was like, I just volunteered to be their publicist. I just loved being in the studio with them. And
Yeah.
like when they were practicing, I was booking, like getting all the bookings done. And like there was a time where we went all the way to North Hollywood to perform at the Republic of Pie, and we rented a van, and that was like the only gig that was on tour.
No, but that's awesome. I mean, like, seriously, like, you being involved in that process, and that was a really cool time, for them, and then you being involved that way, because honestly, every band, especially kind of starting out, is on that cusp of, like, hitting, whatever journey they're going to go on. Having someone there as an outside source that's not part of the creative output of it, but just to kind of be like, hey, you should try this, and you're a great people person. And that's something that I've talked to Brandon about, in the past, about Widowhood Effect, because in fact, I just watched the video for Last Cigarette like 2 nights ago. Actually, I still have that on my list. But it was a great band, and anytime that you can be a part of stuff like that, in any music scene, but I think especially our music scene here in Southern Colorado is especially special because we don't have the continuous draw of national acts coming through here. They're becoming more because we have a couple venues that can do that, with City Hall and then Brews, L's House, whatever. But in reality, a lot of the bands down here, we're all shooting from the hip of like what we hear ourselves and turning that into, our own version. I'm not saying that, big city, people are, cheating, but I mean, I find more bands that sound exactly like another signed band in bigger towns than I do in smaller towns. Um, but I always looked at Pueblo as very big melting pot. And what's funny is even Denver, people like Denver bands say like, Pueblo has a reputation of like turning out really creative and off the wall music. And I agree with that. Sonic Vomit is one of the main, examples of that. Go back, even further, the death metal bands Henyo, and all these guys when I was a kid, these are great things. So, just to be part of it now, and, this is the story of what's going on in our music scene now. And you were a big part of that, and you still are with Sereth Fest. This is something that is a continually going thing, and it's turned into bands knowing that this is something that they can get in and do something on a big level, that has been promoted very well each year, and be able to be surrounded by fellow musicians, and I think that's a big deal.
For sure. Thanks for the kind words, dude. I can't believe it's been going on for 11 years. That's like the crazy thing.
We're trying to go back and like remembering, like, well, what did Bridges play and which one's at this one? And then, doing sound for Strathfest at Phil's, and, when we had the outside stage and indoor stage, and, me and Brandon going back and forth. But that was great. Like it was awesome. And all the bands that were part of that experience loved it. It was something that, yeah, there was crazy hiccups. And of course you have some bands that, are prima donna about this and that or whatever, but the the whole thing that you're doing with Sreth Fest is just about the music and the art of the community, and that's what it needs to be about. And I really do think now, with social media being as intertwined in all of our lives as much as it is, this is actually becoming a little bit easier to promote, but also, like, people are being more open to receive the promotion. um, there's still people going to shows and handing out, flyers, which I really love to see, besides them making a Facebook event and that's it. Because I think, this is a time where, you do everything. And, if it's important to you, you'll find ways to get people around and to go see your stuff. So as an artist, that's an artist thing to me. To other artists is, you can't expect people to take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously. So
100%, dude. And if it wasn't for like the widowhood effect and stuff, it's like I wouldn't have learned how to book a tour and like and I'm thankful for that. And 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 with all the experiences of going to all these other festivals in like Rockville or Rock the Bells or all that stuff. It's like I just was like exposed to all those festivals, and I'm like, I don't really want 5 stages with 5 bands going on at the same time. I just want 2 stages possibly, and alternate it so they don't miss a song. Like everyone
yeah,
gets their light in like the spotlight, and that's what I
exactly.
wanted. And it's like, man, like I know that I didn't want too much walking because it was hell at Riot Fest. I'm like, this is hell. But
Yeah. No, that was, yeah, that's crazy. Plus, you're putting people that are going to these festivals in that weird situation of like, how do they plan out their days seeing bands that are playing at the same time that they want to see? And
exactly,
like, that sucks. And a lot of friends that went to the last Riot Fest they had in Denver, that was a big thing because a lot of the bands they wanted to see just happened to be playing at the same time.
yeah,
So they're like trying to make everything. But uh, no, I think, having at the Blowback is awesome. I know the bomb shelter, they're dealing with, really kind of shitty neighbors, but it's really cool that Corey is doing as much as he does. Because honestly, even though I haven't been to a lot of shows these past couple of years and, kind of getting back into everything, but watching from afar of, how people have kind of taken that torch and, oh, fuck, Phil's is shut down. What are we going to do? Well, then we'll have the Rainbow Bar, it's like, let's go there and do our shows there. And, and still have the green light, for whatever. But then Rainbow got shut down. Well, what are we going to do? And, Corey took that right away. And that's awesome. Because that happened to us when we were in high school. We had the Chief Theater and we were selling, shows at the Chief Theater were a big deal. And all of a sudden they were done. And we're like, what are we going to do? And luckily, Phil's opened up that avenue for us to book shows. Yes, there was no stage. There was no fucking sound system. It was an open bar and you just kind of set up and play. And at first it was like, man, this sucks. But it was like, it brought everything real right back to what it's about. And I think that has kind of been, in my opinion, what your Sreth Fest has kind of done is no matter what, it's back to a humbling experience and just enjoying local music and showing off the talent that you have, and, whatever it is. And I still think having mixed lineup shows where you have a punk band, an acoustic band, and a metal band, those are the best shows,
yeah,
when you have all the same genre in one show, yeah, it's cool. But at the same time, then you have this, well, how come, they didn't stand out? You want each band to stand out. And this type of festival, yeah, you don't want to have 5 different stages and couple blocks apart where people are trying to get around everywhere. So we're really excited, and Blowback has been a really cool spot to see shows too. So I'm really excited that you got the show over there.
indeed. Shout out to Jeff and Zoe for having us. I mean, it's going to be
Very
pretty
cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, whoever got that was amazing. Cause, I think even where it's located too, is downtown, and, it's pretty centrally located in town for everybody to go to.
big time. And then, well, we're gonna have food from the Star Bar and make some sloppers for people that wanted food and stuff. And so it's
Oh
gonna be
yeah.
pretty good. It's only like across the street, so it's fantastic. Alfonso goes and I go way back. We went to Freedom Centennial together, so
Yeah.
he owns it, and it's just to keep it all in like in-house family wise. It's the way to go.
Oh
So
yeah.
I didn't want to go to Sonic or nothing, so it's like we're gonna bring it to the Star Bar for food or whatever.
Yeah. No, get a Star Burger, man. I remember my dad taking me there when I was a kid, and just this like cheeseburger with onions and I think mustard on it is all I had or something like that. But yeah,
Nice.
good killer. Awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. So we'll do a big rundown. How much time do I got with you? I want to be respectful every time.
Oh no, I'm good. Yeah, good. I'm good. Yeah, we're good.
Cool. So give me a rig rundown. You got the amp and cabinet, which is a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier roadster, and the prior custom 2x12 inch cab. Uh, why'd you pick those guys, those brands instead of the other brands?
So I worked at Axe Haven Music here in town for like 9 years. No, actually, no. Sorry, 7.5 until it closed down. We were a Mesa Boogie dealer. Me being a kid starting guitar, I wanted a Marshall. I had a Marshall, stuff like that. But Mesa to me has just always been my personal favorite amp wise, my favorite amp to record. Um, this amp that I have that I'm using now is actually the first run of this amp that Mesa Boogie did, and they've actually discontinued it. And it was my last purchase from Axe Haven when I worked there. And so that was 2007. So we're looking, this amp's like, wow, damn near 15 years old at least, maybe even more. But for what I do and what I like to have in the studio for other bands to use, that amp has been awesome. Um, I have Mesa Boogie cabinets too that I've used for Son of Man and everything, but I wanted something smaller. And Nick Pryor, he's from Pueblo. He's had a couple bands. He was in Wake of Suffering back in the day. And but anyway, he started a Pryor Custom Craft speaker company or cabinet company in Springs with a buddy Christian of mine. And I hit them up of, I wanted a smaller cabinet, but sounded like a big cabinet. And so they made me a custom shop 212 cabinet that I'm going to be using for the 13 Plagues project. It sounds amazing. Something smaller rig instead of my giant kind of touring rig that I used to use, everywhere. I still have it, but I chose those just because it's a different tone, it's a different feel, and it fits this project definitely better. And then my guitar, I have a custom shop Hamer that I got in 2002. So my guitar is 22 years old now. USA made, and it's my favorite thing in the world for guitar wise. So I'm stoked because I really wasn't able to use it. A lot of stuff with Son of Man, not anything particularly, just I just wasn't using it. So I got it all ready to go. And so, me and James are rocking our jet black guitars. So we didn't plan it. We just like black guitars. But yeah.
Hell yeah, black is the way to go. So yeah.
Yeah.
My new car is black, so I love it. So it's
There you
pretty
go.
good stuff, man. It's such a joy and a pleasure to like. I can't believe we've known each other since middle school. It's like it's
Dude, it's been crazy. And that's the thing. As we've gotten older, I've realized, I'm very thankful for all the people that are still in my life, and the great things that everyone's doing. Obviously, as we all grow older, we lose loved ones and dear ones to us. And like I said, just recently, Big J, he's a really big dude, really nice, awesome dude in the hip hop community up in Denver, but he lost his battle with cancer and stuff like that. I think puts things in perspective. Um, my job and my availability to my family put my life in perspective these last couple of years, and decisions had to be made. And unfortunately, some of those decisions I didn't make. They kind of happened on their own. But I am also very happy and to have you and Sean Beeman. I look back a lot of things that a lot of my heavy music that I listened to that I got into was with him right there. And we discovered a lot of the same bands at the same time. And, kind of going back to this, how, life has it. And so I found going like, wow, like without these key people, there's certain things that wouldn't line up. And, who'd have thought in high school that, you would turn into a superhero and run a festival for 11 years, like, it's crazy. And I think it's amazing. And that just is a test to life has a plan for all of us, but we all get to meet back up with the people that are, close and dear to us and have seen us when we were just stupid little kids in all reality.
for sure. I've done some messed up things in my past, but you just sometimes you gotta be a supervillain first to become a superhero.
There you go. There you go.
Awesome. And so, man, and we got another one, another Sweats Fest in Daytona Beach too, and now number 4 years this year. So it's gonna be at the Tirnanog Irish Pub. and it's like a block and a half away from the world's most famous beach sign, Daytona Beach sign.
Okay.
And, and it's in a dive bar, which is so dope. It's like reminds me of the old Phils, like
Cool.
and yeah, it's like it's been my home for stand up for like 8 years now, and it's like so now it's like two locations. So if anyone wants to go on tour, and they can just hit up the Nog with for another Sweat Fest. I was trying to get Scrotus to go out there last year, but they couldn't do it. But that'd be so cool to bring like a piece of home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, and the fact that you've set up, is a very cool. Or where you are, you've set up camp, and I think it's amazing, especially Florida. Watching you from afar, and seeing what you've done down there. It's fucking cool, man. Like, and unfortunately, on a band level, though, Florida is really hard for any band to get to. Like I remember touring with Son of Man, and we were trying to figure out things to go, and we're like, nah, about Missouri is about as far east as we're gonna go, and we're just gonna stay Midwest. But no, I think that's amazing, and I think that's also good to have those kind of dive spots, because in reality, those are those spots where you get to be real intimate with the performer, whether it's a band, whether it's a comedian, spoken word. It hits different than being on a big stage in a big room. And I always feel that's why I like the Black Sheep so much, me personally doing sound there, because it is a small room when it comes down to it, but the amount of acts and people I've seen perform on that stage, it's cool, and I think you need stuff like that. But, you have two little empires going in two different states, but that's awesome. So congrats to you on that.
Thanks, man. And luckily, it's like everyone's so like all my friends take it easy on the wallet. It's like we just want the shirts, and I'm like, all right, I'll get Barrett to print some shirts up for you. And then I got Charlie McMullen doing the artwork, and like I said, I keep everything in house because it's like I want all my friends to level up with me.
That's
And
cool.
yep, I don't like. There was times where like bands from like South America was hitting me up, and this big old agency out in LA was hitting me up like, "Can we put our artists on your bill?" I'm like, "Nah, man, this is all locals." Like, get out
Yeah.
of here.
Wow, that's cool. But look, I mean, look at the attention. It's just something, like people. I think that's how things kind of start rolling and snowballing. It's you get that, but the fact that you're making it a local first, event is awesome. Um, like we were looking up, our set time when we play at the July 19th. We're stoked. I mean, Roy Rumble, we went to school with him. He has a DJ set right before us. We have Scotty, who's doing an acoustic set right after. He's always been around here, and that's the thing that's cool, because like you're showing people where we're playing, and a lot of our friends are like, "Are you the only band that night?" I go, "I think so," but I go like, "That's cool," and I also think it's a showcase. You're showcasing the local talent. And maybe we do have some people that are really shy that don't like to promote or don't know really how to promote. And with this, this is a big hug. This is a big hug of a festival, and I'm really excited. And I think again, Pueblo is a different music scene. In reality, when it's thriving. And I think right now with the newer bands that have come out with Liar's Handshake and Cortez and Fat Camp, us now, we're this new wave of the newer Pueblo, music scene. But I understand that, it's not like, everything before us is gone, but it's just everything comes in waves. And right now we are on this big break of all this new music with these amazing musicians, that are coming back into, getting ready to play for the first time in years, or, doing a different genre of music than they've done in the past. And I think you're giving people the opportunity to do that. But again, I'm excited just to be a part of this again, and be a part of the music scene in general. So
Heck yeah, it's been 10 years, dude, since the last time you were
yeah,
home.
yeah, and I know you've been, you were hitting us up, very steadily for a Son of Man reunion, and Aggressive Persuasion, and what else? Poor Substitute,
Yeah,
and the way I look at it, there's, yeah, a lot of bands are reunion, getting together for these reunion shows or getting back together and stuff. Some bands, it's just not in the cards, unfortunately. And that's why, being able to see, and I guess this is an announcement to everyone, that may see this, but like, this is where, it's your chance to go see these local bands before they get big
big time.
or before they stop. Like I have a collection of bands that are no longer, in existence from this local scene. And it's sad, but it's also a really cool because it's like a treasure trove of like, I'm glad I was here to see this, and it makes every show, I think, that much more special instead of being like, oh, we're gonna play this show, but then we have a couple of shows after that. It's like, no, let's focus on that first show. Like everywhere you go, do the best you can. And I think in reality, that's what this is all about. Everyone is worried about being signed or the end goal or whatever. What I've learned through my whole journey with all this stuff, it's the journey. That is the biggest thing. My past bands, I would have loved things to work out differently and whatnot, but in reality, things just kind of ran their course. And now with this, we have 5 different people from 4 different bands joining for this 13th Plagues project. And this literally started off just to write music to have fun. This wasn't a we're gonna go out and kick everybody's ass. No, this was like, let's just write some music. And luckily I had to look at it as like, it's okay to go play in a band again. It's okay to record some friends and do this again. And then it was like, fuck, I want to play. Like I want to get back there to doing that. Me and Josh were working on some music for the last couple of years that just never came into fruition, unfortunately. And me and him were kind of figuring out like, what are we gonna do? Trying to get Mo to play music again, but he just it wasn't in his cards. So this all kind of happened for the right reason. But again, I appreciate what you have done, to make this a continual thing. And what's funny is like, you have kids now that are performing, around town right now, and they're like sophomores in high school, right? My son's a freshman. And one of, Moody's nephews, Brian McCain's, stepson, he's in a band here in town. You got to look at it. 10 years ago, he was only 4,
Wow.
When this started, so like, this is something that's just been going on for him as long as he could remember. And that's where it's like, us being, in our 40s now, it's like, wow, a lot of things have happened, but the core of everything being what it is still there, and it's just being, supportive of each other and, realizing, that there's a big art scene, there's a big music scene, and everything around here. So I just think it's really cool, and because 10, 11 years, dude, there's a lot of things that don't last longer than a couple years. And, you're consistent through all different venue changes, and having to change this, change that on the fly. And it's awesome. So I'm excited to be a part of it this year again for the first time in a long time.
Heck yeah, dude! I am so stoked too. It's like we've done pubs, and we have Green Light and Rainbow and Phil's and like J. Michaels and Kadoya and
Yeah.
Irving Manor. It's like in like all these different venues. It's bonkers. Grindhouse a couple times. So, but yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I just think it's made me to be more in the moment and more present, in the moment in general. What I've realized, through these last couple of, I'll say last year for myself personally, is being definitely more observant and not just kind of looking past. And, that's why I think now is a great time to start playing music again and doing all this stuff. So.
Hell yeah, my man! I'm so stoked, and gosh, I can't wait to reunite with you and give you a big old hug.
It's been a while. I'm stoked though. I'm really excited for this.
Awesome, and so yeah, man, I'm stoked. I got to thank Blowback again for having us this year, and many like the Bomb Shelter for having us last year, and just trying to keep this thing going, and then also Quan's Kitchen for always giving me food when I get home, and paying over Bob for the manicure and pedicure, and gotta give a shout out to Liquid Death for giving us like koozies and like 10 signs for the stage.
Awesome.
And, yeah.
Awesome.
So they could give us some hydration packs this year. So, and shout out to all the artists like Barrett for printing all the shirts all the time and tote bags, and Charlie for making all the artwork. So
awesome.
But yeah, and thank you for being a part of the festival and mixing and mastering everyone else and all that good stuff.
Yep, thank you. I'm stoked. Like I said, I'm getting back into the groove of things, and so yeah, I've been booking the studio, and there'll be a lot more releases coming out from Lastly pretty quick here. So
hell yeah. Good stuff. All right, and thank you to Dorian Gale, and thank you to Matt Herrera. And any last words you'd like to give out to the audience?
See you at Sureth Fest. Please show up if you can't show up for all days. Like let's show up and give some support to these bands, and even not like just be aware that this is something that goes on in our area. Thank you again, Sureth, for everything that you do. I'm sorry, woo. But yeah, no, I appreciate the time. It's awesome.
I appreciate you, bud. And I will see you at Fest, July 19th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. The 18th is the open mic. 19th and 20th is the crazy festival that keeps on happening every year. Just doesn't go away. So awesome.
Absolutely.
For sure. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. We will see you soon. And we'll see you at both Fest this year. See you
Later.
later, alligator. Bye.